They starve under bridges. They die under the open sky. And the capitalist system calls them free. We on side government decry the sort of inhumane capitalism that allows a certain class of poor people to live without a home of their own. We intend to end this equal freedom to eat in mansions and live under bridges. And we intend to do that with a couple of simple steps. The first is this. We think that in all first world countries sufficiently rich to afford our policy, we should make public housing available to every adult citizen of sound mind. And if they choose to decline to accept this public housing, we will give them an equivalent sum to spend on housing elsewhere, provided they assure us they will indeed use it to buy a home. Why is this a good thing? I'm going to talk about why governments have a moral obligation to do this. Kitson is going to talk about why governments that like their societies to just be sound societies have prudential reasons for doing this. So let's start off the bat. We think that home ownership, not just living under a roof, but home ownership is a right and not a privilege. The first reason is this. Unless it is your home, your ability to have this as your private space is severely curtailed. When your landlord may knock on the door, when someone may say, no, I don't want you changing the wallpaper, we think there is a real sense in which this home is not your private space to do with as you see fit. Shoot.
So surely the government's role is to ensure you have basic healthcare and education.
No,
not nice wallpaper.
Hold on, this is stupid. Because we never said they shouldn't provide healthcare. We never said they shouldn't provide education. We just think that a home is on the list of things that governments should provide. So that was just irrelevant. Not only is it a matter of privacy, this is a matter about personal space. This is a matter about having a sphere that is inviolably your own so that you can pursue your private projects in this. We think you need a home to do this. We think the third reason has to do with autonomy. We don't think it's enough that the government subsidize rents in bad times. Because so long as you are beholden to a landlord, so long as the lease may or may not be renewed at the end of the year, no. So long as you have to live the life of a poor university student who doesn't know what bed he's going to sleep in, no thank you, at this time next year. We don't think you can make long-term life plans. We don't think that there is a real sense in which you have power over the figure that controls whether or not you can continue to live, no thank you, in that little box you call home, namely your landlord. So for that third reason, we think that we have a moral obligation to make sure people have a home. The fourth reason is we think, quite frankly, in capitalist societies, a man's home is his castle. We think that the social bases of self-respect, the sort of things people need to be able to look each other in the eye, including being able to say, I own my bedroom, I own my kitchen, I own the place where I live. Because being able to do this grants status in a capitalist society. Being able to do this shows that you have made it. And we don't think any adult citizen shouldn't be able to make it. No. So those are four reasons why home ownership should be a right, not a privilege. Overwhelmingly, we think the pressing reason that underpins all of these is this. No. We think that governments have the positive obligation to ensure the sorts of abilities that citizens need to function as full citizens. These are four reasons why citizens need houses and homes of their own to function as full citizens, to function as full persons, to pursue what their vision of happiness is. And we think liberal states need to give that, because your right to these things is not contingent on how much you earn or how productive you are. No. The second reason why we think governments should do this is because of the nature of capitalism. It's just a fact that capitalism primarily benefits the capitalists. When capitalist economies grow, overwhelmingly, growth in house prices outpaces growth in incomes. We've seen this in the United States, for instance, where the median income of the American worker has remained fairly static, but house prices have gone up. No. This means that if you want the proceeds of capitalism to be shared by all of society, not the privileged few who own assets, you need to make sure that everybody, owns assets. That's a point of fairness.
On this point, sir.
No. Capitalism is only one of many ways we can organize the economy and our society. The reason why we can justify capitalism is because it continues to help the poorest and worst off in a fair way. That ceases to happen if the basis of the system, no thank you, the basis on which primarily goods and income are distributed, namely capital, no thank you, is available only to the select few. The second reason is this: to be an effective consumer and an effective worker in a capitalist society, you must own assets, preferably a house. This is because our capitalist societies, like it or not, are based on borrowing. In order for you to be able to afford a lot of things, like, for instance, extra training that might help you with your job. No. Like, for instance, a new refrigerator at your little deli so that you can help your corner shop grow. You need to have something to borrow against. When you are, no thank you, the sans culottes, when you don't have something you can guarantee to the banks as capital, you can only get loans at cripplingly damaging prices. That means your ability to be an effective producer in a capitalist economy is constrained by the lack of your having the sort of asset that you could borrow against. Houses are overwhelmingly the best sort of asset you can borrow against because everybody has a strong reason to keep them and therefore a strong reason to repay the debt. They are therefore a strong assurance to someone who might lend to you that you will repay the debt. They therefore let you buy in to the sorts of things you need to have a fighting chance in a capitalist system. The sorts of things you need to smooth over consumption in times of boom and bust, because we recognize that capitalism always brings booms and busts. The sorts of things you need to invest in yourself or to invest in the start of a business. The sorts of things you need to make big consumption purchases, which, things like refrigerators, things like cars, which we think are just necessities in modern life, given the way many modern societies organize themselves. We agree that we should pay for people's healthcare. We agree that we should pay for people's education. We think this is at least as important because fair societies, just societies, give people the basic necessities they need to live within them. We've given you two whole areas of reasons why these are necessities you need to live in a capitalist society. For these reasons, give people's homes, take them out from under the sky, we're proud to propose.